Okay, now do you have spoiler thoughts?
Let me get my list.
Yeah. I know, this one was hard. Okay, so, bonus section. Maybe I should do an intro. Hey, it's Andy, Kelly, and Kaia. We're back, and we have more thoughts.
We're back with spoilers.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we want to make this a bonus section or if we'll just release it as its own thing. We'll figure it out. But either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is funny because, I watched the first two in theaters, right? So, I didn't really, take notes, but then for episode 3, it's like a stream of consciousness note taking.
Mhm.
Like, episode 1, I was like, Sauron as Hexus prologue. Because he turns into goo.
It was really funny to see him flop around, and then it kept going, and I was like, no, he's gonna become a person, and it just more flop.
I know, well, it was gross and creepy.
Out of the mountain, I was like, surely he's not gonna be rolling in the dirt like this.
And I thought that was such
over.
And I was like, are we referencing Fern Gully right now? because I thought it was really interesting that they did that, because I know for a fact that in the appendices we say Sauron on the wind, when he loses his body, is more of a kind of situation, and I don't know how they would show that, dust or whatever. I know Saruman has a similar vibe in Lord of the Rings, so we know that, in the stuff that we do have rights to, when someone who is not mortal dies, there's this spirity thing that happens.
Well, they did that with the acolyte, oh yeah, they're not called acolytes, are they? Whatever.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did that with that one person.
Yeah. So I'm kind of
see, that's what I thought they were going to do whenever he exploded with the light and then created all the ice.
And we had a weather situation.
Follow the light.
We had wind. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we see, his blood eat an entire rat. And it's like, okay, so they're going this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it was creepier. And then maybe they're trying to tie it to the trees in Linden.
I think so.
Because they're both yucky and they're both sticky goo.
Yeah.
It also, it brings it back to nature, which is, so important in Tolkien. And I think that they're going to pick up on that, especially with the coming of the Ents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the Ents!
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
The second, I saw, I was like... Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was very Merry and Pippin, running into
yeah.
And I was like, because, that is one thing that I have heard people say that they like about Rings of Power, is when it does kind of be about wink wink to Peter Jackson movies. I kind of, am meh about that. I'm like, do your own thing. You can do this.
Yeah.
I know you can.
It depends on the situation. I feel like there's some nods that could be done really well, and then some that
there's
are
some that are
a little too exact.
Yeah.
And it's oh.
Yeah, those are the ones where I'm kind of like,
yeah.
I get it, but also I'm like, come on, Peter has had such a freaking hold on people.
Yeah.
And it created such drama with constantly comparing his Lord of the Rings to anything else. But we always forget.
They take his movie as canon.
Yeah.
Just strange.
And then I wrote what I say. I just wrote pretty heavy on Sauron's story, but I'm into it.
Yeah, strong opening.
Of that new Sauron.
Mm-hmm. And I love that the orcs were kind of
yeah,
not into it.
I think it's goes back to what you were saying, Andy, is that it's not something that we've seen before, and it's from my end, it's just been an assumption.
Yeah.
That these orcs just blindly, and they don't even have thoughts, even though they speak, obviously.
Yes.
But it's they're just the bad goblins that follow the bad guy.
Thing that I've always thought about orcs. There's just tiny moments in Lord of the Rings where you see them thinking about their lives outside of Sauron's plans for them, or war, and they obviously they're not great, maybe a skewed moral compass, but they don't just exist to be fodder for, I mean, they become that, but I think that there are hints that they could be more than that, but they are, like, when Sam is overhearing them, when he is trying to figure out where they've taken Frodo, and he's listening to them talk, and they're, like, making plans, and it's, like, they really are like, well, men would hunt us down, like, nobody likes us, and it's kind of like just like an assumption of how, people see them. I mean, I don't think they're wrong either, but also just, like, the fear that is also motivating them is also kind of human. It's kind of human.
The orc that tries to take like, he does plan, like, Pippin's able to trick him.
Yeah.
It's Pippin, right?
Yeah.
And because he can sense that he might want it for himself. And so you've got these, like, I don't know, there's hints of depth in Tolkien's work, and to not only take that but run with it and to create a whole community of orcs has been so interesting to see.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the design of the orcs is brilliant. Like,
brilliant.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
they're doing the orcs, and I'm excited.
Orcs,
they very much remind me of like the demons from the movie Legend. Because like whenever that one orc was going after Beric, I was like, I've seen you before.
Oh my gosh, I am a full-on Beric stan now.
Oh my! Episode 3 was just like, oh god, Beric, and it's like, yay, Beric! It's oh god, Beric.
I know, and I was like, kick their ass, Beric, and then he did.
So like, proud. I was like, oh my god, Isildur, tell Beric to run, because that horse will not leave you. You could tell, and like, he took forever to tell Beric.
He took way too long.
I was like, you tell him now. Same,
and I was like, eggs are hatching, bitch.
Yeah,
get that horse out of there. That's gnarly.
So good.
That was gross. I do think that is one thing that felt missing from season 1, is it didn't feel like dirty enough, and I feel like everyone's nails are nasty in this season. Like, everyone's covered in goo. Like, I'm into it. I'm here for it.
Like, now that they've all been through it.
Yeah, and I love that we're getting more of Stranger, probably Gandalf, like, talking. I think he's a really good actor, and I really good at, like, delivering the lines. So it's nice that he finally gets to do that.
Oh yeah,
I think he's an incredible actor. Really good, especially considering he did non-verbal for a lot of it. In season 1.
Yeah,
crazy.
He's extremely dynamic.
Yeah, like, not to compare it to Peter Jackson, but I think like him and Ian McKellen is just like, if he took any inspiration from Ian McKellen, I can see it, because it's just so good.
There was some delivery of some lines, and I'll have to rewatch to see if I could feel it again. But I was like, that's kind of an Ian McKellen way to say that. And
I also feel like Elrond was very much giving Hugo Weaving in several parts of the beginning of this season. Of like, I don't know. I was like, there's things that you're saying, and I'm like, sound like those scenes in Rivendell, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then even just his all-around vibe with his facial expressions is just like, that's
and that's one thing that I really love about watching these with Anna, is that she's always calling Robert Aramayo's she'll call him Baby Ned because he plays young Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. So in my head, I'll be like, Baby Ned,
Baby Ned, and Baby Elrond.
Yeah, exactly. So I love him. I think, but also at the same time, I will say that my concern continues to be around the elves and the way that they're handling our Galadriel, Gil-galad, Elrond situation, because why does Elrond, who's young, sound like third age Elrond, whereas Galadriel, they're obviously setting up this like crazy arc, and I'm like, why is it just her? She's much older. And I was talking about this with Anna. She was like, as a casual watcher, I actually had no clue that she would be older than Elrond. They feel like peers, and I'm like, you're right. But still, why does Elrond get to sound all wise and shit? Like,
I mean, I feel like character-wise, he's probably been through it more. than she has, because even in the books, in like up until where they are, Galadriel hasn't really been through a whole lot. But Elrond, that man has not known a moment of peace.
I would say yes in the books, but they're not showing that in the show where these characters are. Like in the show, they are showing Galadriel go through it more with the trauma of losing her brother. But I mean, we know that the trauma that Elrond has gone through, will go through.
I feel like they hinted at it season 1, but not.
Yeah, but they're not leaning on it as heavily. So it's like if you're going to show these two characters, then there does need to be some more reasoning.
Yeah. I just worry. I'm like, you know, everyone just always lecturing her, and I'm like, she's so smart and perfect though. Like, you know, I don't know.
God.
Yeah. So it concerns me sometimes, and I do think that the way that they ended up with the 3 rings on their hand was like.
So you tell me that you have fought with this person, like you have told Galadriel multiple times over how to behave, and she has disregarded your behavior. Mm-hmm. And now she's like you can't really trust her, right? You don't know what she's going to do next. Mm-hmm. A ring falls at her feet. She picks it up, puts it on her hand, and you're not going to say anything?
Finders keepers.
I just find that
it was literally all finders keepers. Like Círdan shows up, he's like, I picked one out for myself. Like, hope that's cool.
You guys, it's mine.
So weird.
Yeah, it was a little. Just everything with the 3 rings continues to be a little rushed, a little unbalanced for me. Like, I don't know the thought process, and I don't know if it's going to pay off. But everything with the 3 rings thus far. Has me a little.
That's the one that's like the hardest to swallow for me. Like I'm like everything else. Like, you know, I can fuck with most everything else that's happening, but like the way that they're handling the rings, I just keep being like, but I, like also. You dropped it, like, and she just picks it up. You know, it's just like very like.
It would have been nice to see her earn it a little bit, and like it was nice to see her and Gil-galad getting along.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he was very quick to turn in Elrond's favor, and then very quick to turn in Galadriel's favor. And I don't get a real sense of who Gil-galad is still, and I really hope I see that develop. I still have hopes that it will develop through this season.
Yeah, I mean,
but for me. He's the character that needs it the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that too, because especially if they are going to, like, I mean, if he's gonna be the one of whom we sadly sing, you're gonna have to amp up that, like,
get us there.
Yeah, that emotional connection, man. Mm-hmm. Because right now it's just, and like, Anna kept calling him Elrond's daddy, and I was like, no. I get it. I get why you went there, but
I King Daddy.
Yeah,
King Papa.
Yeah, baby and daddy, and I was like, oh, I don't know, he's just the king. Like
they just all love him and revere him, but I kind of want to see. I want to see why they revere him.
Yes.
Because so far I did have a little bit of a moment where I'm like, Gil-galad, he's literally wagging his finger and just being like. No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. And I felt like that's kind of what he did last season. So I want to see him, why they follow him and why they take direction from him and why he's king and why they essentially follow him. And again, I'm hopeful that we'll get there. We'll just have to see.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna pass too hard a judgment. That's just one of those things where I'm like, that's a choice that you made. Pull it off, you know. We were all rooting for you. Insert Tyra Banks meme. That's how I am with the elves right now. Really.
Oh yeah.
But you know, I think. The Anatar stuff has been good. Like, I know that it's maybe not, like, perfect. But, like, Charlie Vickers, I'm like, okay. Be bad. Yeah. Be a little manipulative, a little bitch. Yeah. I don't care.
Like, I think in the first episode, he was really slow. But then in that second one, the second episode, had me screaming.
He turned it on. Yeah.
So good.
He flipped a switch.
So good.
Did you guys like seeing the explanation of, like, because the first episode really does, right off the bat, explain... his process. Did you guys like seeing that?
Yeah, I was down for it. Like,
Yeah.
and I thought it was also interesting, like, how he, like, explaining how he ended up with that little pouch thing, and, like, him with the creatures. I really like, whether it's like that sea creature moment or the warg.
The warg.
I know the warg still looks like an insane chihuahua pig, but like they went with that design. But when he turned on that black speech, I was like, oh my god, why is this hot?
I was really happy that wasn't one of the things that they ruined by posting it on Instagram. Because, like, had they not posted so much on Instagram, I probably would have been excited about that.
Oh my god, okay, so as soon as, I think it was, like, Lee or somebody started, maybe it was your thread.
It was probably me, because when they posted that video of the new Sauron, and they say when we're going to see him, they're literally like, first scene, first episode, we're seeing him, and then it's the actor, full costume, full wig. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Like, I remember somebody saying, like, they are revealing it all. And I was like, I'm not going to the page. I'm getting
unfollow immediately after that. Because I was like, they're going to ruin everything else for me. Because I feel like that's why I didn't like the first episode. So, like, there were bits and pieces I liked in the first episode. Mm-hmm. But I think that's why I didn't like it as much. Because, I knew what was going to happen. And then when you see... It is. And then when you see what they actually did with the new Sauron, when they make him look all anxious and fidgety, it's like, well, okay, the excitement's gone already, and now I'm just disappointed. So,
poop,
big poop. But then you see with the black speech and like being like, oh shit, that's a wolf. I can talk to this thing. Yeah. Then it's like, okay, I liked that. That was cool.
Yeah. I really liked the animal. I mean, I'm a big, anytime nature and animals come up, I'm like, I think if you take Sauron's interactions with the animals, that like with the warg and the dragon, sea monster kind of thing, and then pair that with the eagle that we see in episode 3, it's so interesting to see these animals respond to the right and wrong person. Because I thought, I just loved the eagle scene so much. As soon as it swooped in, I was like on the edge of my seat. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I was like,
I was so mad.
I was like, I was like, that eagle is pissed at you. Like that eagle is mad. No, he mad. Get out.
Yeah. I was like, Farazan. That's why Farazan is like such an interesting dude, because it's like, oh, you little snake. Just like capitalize on the moment. I will say, I still want my baby eagles to talk someday. I want him to talk so bad.
I feel like we might see that.
But they just like shriek. Like my captions were on shrieks.
That eagle really could have been like, no, dude.
Yeah.
No. I think it just kind of flew in. Saw the BS that was happening. It's like, okay, I do not get paid enough for this. I'm going home.
Yeah, that was the vibe.
I did not.
This is above my pay grade, authority.
Or like, maybe they went in thinking it was going to be her coronation, see that it's like, not that. And like,
a riot?
Long day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, fuck out. Like, I could have swore this was a coronation.
Did they not? The eagle's like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
for you.
I'm in the wrong classroom.
Let me go home, figure out if I'm late or if I'm early. Sorry, guys.
He's like, I'm going back to my mountain. This is weird.
Yeah.
Y'all,
like, I can tell when I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, Farazan. I'm out. What were your guys' thoughts about Círdan? I was excited because I was like, we know he's around, but like, I feel like he never really gets his moment in anything.
Loved him. I do wonder why they shaved the beard.
I don't know.
That was one of the things I brought up to my fiance. I was like,
he was like, new ring, new me.
Like, one of the notes that I took was, do you know how long it takes an elf to grow a beard? And he just shaves it.
And he shaves it?
Again, a choice that y'all made.
You know it well enough to be like, it just didn't seem like they stood by their decision. And again, maybe we'll see reasoning for that. Like, give the benefit of the doubt. But I was like, you made the decision. Let's go with it. You went with the lore, so why? Maybe it's to make him look like maybe he'll end up somewhere else by the end of the season, and he will look more rugged again. He'll look a little bit more distraught, and maybe like the beard is part of that. Like he feels
that's like how
clean
we keep
shaven
time
in the beginning. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I just was like, I was like quickly disappointed. I was like, oh no.
I know, but his opening scene, I was like, yeah,
it's beautiful,
so
beautiful.
Good.
The visuals with him, the actor. I don't even know actors that well, so I don't know what he's from. But I just, he
fits the character very well.
I will say that like the way they're going about the rings. There's a moment with Círdan where he sticks his hand in the water and like fucks with the fish. I'm like, we're maybe getting a little too one ringy with the way that we're treating the elven rings.
I had that thought when I first saw the trailer. My first thought is all I could think about when I was watching the whole trailer was like, the rings are not the one ring.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, and also like we're not delineating, I think differentiating like their motivations enough. Like the way that they don't use their rings to gain power, they do it to preserve and protect. You know, like there's never like a, I don't know. It's just a different vibe with the elves, and that's one thing I was talking about with Anna is that like, I mean, I was like, baby Ned does end up with one. I know he doesn't like him right now, but for and you know, Galadriel obviously has hers, but that's why Rivendell and Lothlorien are the way that they are, and why they're safe is because they're able to like keep their peeps in a little bubble in a way. But you know, we were very focused on healing that tree. So we went a different direction a little bit.
Yeah. I think I see why they need to put more weight to the rings, just because it's the rings' power. They gotta make them more meaningful and more dangerous and all that.
Yeah. I would just love to like use this chance, since we know we're gonna get dwarves with rings, and I also want to say like they're obviously going in order of poem, like 3 rings, 7 dwarves. We're gonna get pushed back on the men thing, but it's gonna happen. And then I'm guessing he'll go off and make the one after he gets his men ring. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So far, we know that I like the trailers again, giving us a little too much, but like we know Durin's gonna get one, and I'm pretty sure he's next. And I know that we've already seen like in this season on Rings of Power.
Yeah, like at the end of the episode, they gave more spoilers. Because when Durin takes his, you see the other 6, so it's just like, okay, so the other 6 are getting them this season.
Yeah, and then we see like a little pushback from Celebrimbor on giving them to men. He's like, nah, they can't handle this shit. But we already know about the Nazgul, like everybody know. So I'll be interested to see how they do that, but at the same time, it is kind of like funny to me to make the poem so literal. Like, we're going in order. That must, and now I'm thinking like some fans would be like, that must be how it go. Like that must be the truth.
Can't wait to get into those arguments. That'll be great.
I mean, we already fight with people about the things PJ did.
Oh my god.
I argued with someone on Twitter. This was like several years ago, but some dude tried to tell me that Peter never took things out.
No, never took things.
Didn't take anything out of the story. It's
he just
the Lord of the Rings movie.
You would turn to like page 2.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, "Look at this!" Like,
I gave a laundry list. I gave a laundry list.
They're like 6 chapters that he took out of the first part of the first book.
There's like, yes, it would be like so immediately.
I know. I mean, it's like Tommy B. Wolves in Holland, like
the Barrow-wights, the fox.
I know,
literally everything.
Yeah,
a lot.
The fox. When are my animals gonna talk?
That's what they should do. That's the Easter egg they should do. Is like they should have a little fox come by and just be like,
"That's weird. I gotta go."
Just like stop for a second and then like go. Like I think that'd be really cute.
But they're being weird.
Yeah, like You see that? Like, break the fourth
Maybe
wall.
we'll get that.
Like, it's just a fox looking at the destruction and then just looking at us, being like, good luck with that. I'm out.
But then I feel pretty like, you know, I feel like we're still figuring out our elves in a lot of ways with this show, or like our high elves, or however you want to refer to our Linden people and our Region people. But I feel like a Region's getting back to where I'm interested again. And then we have the Stranger in Rune, and I think that is exciting now because I know where the fuck they are. I feel like there was something about how lost I felt in season 1. I was like, where are they? Because they would do like a map shot, but it wasn't like in a way where you could really identify anything. But that is one thing that I think is very Tolkien, is that you are constantly referencing a map whenever he tells you anything. So I do like that. I feel more of like, okay, I know where we are in, you know, like roughly where Rune is, and it's interesting to see that place because I feel like we've referenced it a lot, but we've never been there. So
yeah,
that has been cool. Worried about Nori and Poppy.
Yeah,
I think they got it.
Tiny.
Yeah.
What they need to do is teach him how to hide as fast as they do, because the way they left that man high and dry. There's no way you just left this man.
They were like, he'll figure it out.
He's a big person.
Yeah. He was like in a bush, sort of. And they were giving, I mean, like their hiding ability, it was very like, you know, the cloaks that we see the Fellowship get.
Yeah.
Like, it just in the way that it was shown, because we also have that shot of like Frodo and Sam under their cloak, and you see like the boots of the Easterlings or whatever. This time it was a snake, and I was scared.
Yeah, but then you see that Easterling look right at them, and I'm like, that guy is either really fucking cool or he's just blind, because there's no way.
Who do you think is under these masks?
I think the Easterling.
Do you think it's like anybody we might know?
I'm really curious to see, because I feel like everything with the East is going to be, I mean, their own.
Yeah.
We'll know. I mean, I think we'll meet one of the Nazgul. Clearly.
Yeah.
From Rune. And I think that, like, I don't think it's Saruman. I think it's a blue wizard that they can't name blue.
That beard is giving Saruman, though. You gotta admit.
He can't be evil to like start.
He shouldn't.
He's evil, but they might.
He should.
I think he's a blue wizard.
A non-blue wizard. Yeah.
They can't. I think he'll don a blue robe at some point.
Maybe. I'm not gonna set myself up for like what. I'm just gonna say that if he is Saruman, I'm not gonna be surprised.
Right.
And so I'm not gonna be hurt like I was before.
You're just gonna so you can't be burned. Yeah. I get that.
But I mean, dwarves still killing it. Interested to see King Doran lose his mind. Don't know why. I just think I think so. That's the thing that I'm thinking, that like if we play with how the different rings affect different people, like, you know, I feel like with knowing how Elrond and Galadriel are with their rings in the Third Age, they're like, you know, they keep it together, and like the stuff that Galadriel says to Frodo in Lothlorien about how she knows that Sauron is like trying to like tap into her brain, and she doesn't allow it, you know? I mean, that's like that, like the strong will stuff I think is really important with the elves, but with like the dwarves, it's a whole different thing where it's like they're not corruptible. Like, you can't make them wraiths, but they do get greedy as fuck and maybe not make good decisions, you know?
Right.
So I think that'll be interesting to see. And then with the 9, how they go about portraying like the whole idea of kings of men. And because I really hope that they don't like immediately become wraiths. I know that the timeline is sped up and weird, so it's like possible that they're kind of trying to be like, hey, this is them, remember these guys. But I do want to see them, like, because the idea of them like kind of really flourishing with their rings and not necessarily you know, just dudes that want power that don't necessarily have what they want, and how they're able to like kind of just make that kind of I feel like that's like a classic villain thing of like you feel like you're getting the better end of the deal until you're not. Because I always had a sneaking suspicion that like the ring wraiths, like by the time we see them, and I know that like Witch King of Angmar is very much like, trying to kick our, favorite people's ass and stuff. But I'm also like, you've got to like hate Sauron a little bit too at the same time, because you aren't even like a person anymore. Like, he just ruined you.
Is there enough of that person to even feel hatred? Or
right.
love,
I mean, at some point, you would think that they would be like, man, this kind of blows.
I mean, I think at the
stuck.
point they're in, it's just all they feel is hatred. They just can't feel anything else. Like, I'm sure they hate Sauron because it's just like they never get a fucking break.
Right.
Like, Sauron figures they gotta go do stuff.
Yeah. I would just be really interested to see them explore more of how, like, those dudes think about their lives.
I think it's gotta be season 3, right? Like, I feel like this one's gonna be about the dwarves, and then season 3, because you cannot try to start giving rings to men in this. You cannot do it in 5 episodes.
No, I don't think they will. So, I think
they'll make the rings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we're getting Fall of Eregion, right? Like,
it
will, or at least the very
Celebrant banner.
It's also gonna last a long time.
I feel like they're gonna smush it so that Pharazôn does decide to come help, but captures Sauron in this part of it. So then he goes to Numenor. Maybe that's where he starts to get out rings.
Yes, I think by the end, the episode's end, like with the Fall of Eregion, I think Sauron will end up in Numenor. Like, that could be a final closing shot of him going to Numenor.
Yeah, that's what
and then season 3 is more about men.
Yeah,
but I've almost
because they're building a lot with like Arondir and his relationship to those people.
Oh my god, his relationship with Bronwyn, that just broke my heart.
They were like, she got wounded. She no longer wants to act.
Dead. And it's also like it felt doomed anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Historically, it doesn't work out great.
And if Theo is going to be an Nazgul, which I really think that is what's going to happen, it just pushes him. He's real grumpy, and he just like keeps making like he's not on the same path that Isildur is, right? Yeah. Or like if they have that grief and that.
But I love Isildur.
Yeah. So, but like they have different ways of approaching, and he's like lost his entire like structure and family structure, and he's
but if Theo's
on a quest to find his dad.
Yeah.
And so if his dad is also like an Easterling or like someone who's already evil, like there goes like he cannot. He's like he's going to a dark place if he shuns Arondir and finds someone who's way
I know the whole like you're not my dad. I was like, okay.
Yeah. So I think they're just kind of using that like his mother. Yeah. So now he's like very sad, and
I know
all the more reason just to go to darkness.
I'm really interested to see like with him being the one that's like probably going to be linking up with the Ents, like how that affects his character. But at the same time, we know Ents don't really get involved. They just kind of do their thing.
I think that's an interesting point, though, you made. Like, I wonder if we will see them be a little bit more quick.
Maybe.
Like, and I didn't think about that, but I wonder.
I mean, she didn't really,
especially if it's the Entwives. Yeah.
Are they gonna kill the Entwives?
I mean, they eventually have to.
But in front of me? Specifically?
Like, dear Amazon Prime Video.
That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt real bad.
It's gonna be so sad.
I mean, they just might walk off,
Yeah.
We might just hear about it.
I just feel like they're gonna try to get us as close to. I mean, we still have to have Fall of Numenor, but then I think they're gonna get us to the Last Alliance.
Oh yeah. Sure. I definitely think that's where the show was going to end, is at the beginning of the Last Alliance.
I feel like they're going to show us the whole battle.
Do you think we're going to get Fingy cut off? Like,
yeah.
Like, how, like, where do you cut that off? You know?
I think Isildur's death. And they're going to compress that a lot. And then the final shot is going to be the time and years passing under the ground, blah, 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 and then a hand grabbing it.
Gollum?
Yeah.
Well, Deagle.
Yeah, Deagle.
No, right. But, you know.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
That's my vision for it. Because I think they'd want to get us all the way up to it. I think Isildur deserves his death. I think Elendil deserves his death, and Gil-galad as well.
Yeah.
Who am I missing out? I mean, everything with Elrond and Galadriel, like, kind of can just... But...
Yeah.
We'll see them in the realms. Like, I think... Because they have to be established in the realms, like... They have to go back to the war.
Yeah. Because, I mean, Elrond's there fighting.
And, like, settle down afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense to see, like, you know, the Rings of Power come to the full fruition of all that. And then it leads into the movies.
Yeah. Do you guys have thoughts on... They keep teasing this fucking Balrog. I know they haven't done it in the show yet, but they did it in the trailer, and they did it at the end of season 1. And I'm kind of like...
See, I think that's where they should have stopped. At the end of season 1, that should have just been a one-and-done thing. Like, you know, don't forget, there's this Balrog under here, but the Balrog isn't supposed to come for 2 more Durin's. And if they wake him up 2 Durin's early, you know what? They deserve everything that's happening to Khazad-dûm.
Well, it's hard because we're going to see the fall of Eregion in this season. We have to see the fall of Numenor. So we have to see the fall of Khazad-dûm. Then we have to see the fall of every race's,
everybody's just fallen.
Everyone's fallen. Who are they? Alicia Keys.
But yeah, how do you show a Balrog like fucking shit up and then like what, tucking himself back into bed?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like I forget. I forget if it was like Willie or Pete that had said it about, like, you know, in the trailer you see the Balrog going down, not up, and I'm like, well, yeah, but then you also see the Balrog and Gandalf going down, and they end up. So
up, yeah, it doesn't matter. Directions are meaningless.
Yeah, well, I don't know if they'll just like continue showing him as like it's a little bit of threat because.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, it's coming, but you can only do that so many times. Like, if you do that, you know, once or twice, that's something, but if you keep on doing that, it's like, doesn't become ominous. It's just like, there.
Yeah. I just wish, like, let him have his moment if they're gonna do it. Quit being like, pss, pss, pss. Don't forget about this guy! Like, okay, if he shows up, he shows up, but like,
don't make him the quirky little side character in the Family Guy episode.
Right. So,
I think he'll have his moment.
Yeah, well, they just gotta stop talking about him, so it's more of a like, oh shit, I forgot about you.
Yeah, I think he had his moment, and his moment was in the first season, and that should have been where it stopped.
And then that stays there.
Yeah, until they need him.
Also, it could be, I don't know. Sometimes things in trailers don't actually show up.
Yeah.
But it's such a big thing to show in a trailer, so I don't actually know if I believe that.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I know we're supposed to get more critters and creatures, creepy crawlies, this season, so I'm interested. I know that we haven't got to this in the episodes, but like in the trailer with Miriel, like doing her little dip in the water with the sea monster thing.
Well, it's apparently like a test that the kings and queens have to do, like see if they can do something
like
in the water with
not get eaten.
I guess.
I mean, it's an interesting like take on what Numenorian culture could be like. It is also interesting. I am like with them introducing Pelargir in the 3rd episode, and him and Isildur pointing out the aqueduct thing, like. It already looks so old and nobody knows how to use it. So I'm like, how are we getting Osgiliath and like Minas Tirith and Minas Ithil and like how much of that are we gonna get to, like, especially in Lord of the Rings, there's so much hinted at, like, oh my god, how could they have possibly built these insane places, which is supposed to happen with these guys, so, or have already started. So I'm interested to see how they approach that, how much we'll see of that, if any. They gotta exist.
Yeah, like with the Shelob stuff, I definitely thought that it was going to be him, like, going into, like, where the Morgul Vale starts. It just turned out to be, like, some Black Forest in a tree full of spiders. Like,
yeah, that was the thing that I was like, where would the Black Forest be? Ithilien?
Yeah, because, I mean, I think the last forest that she was hanging out in was in Valerian, and that's under the water.
Yeah. It's interesting. But I just wonder about that, especially because of the pace we're moving at. Like, when are you gonna have a chance to build anything?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna take a minute.
I think they're just gonna jump a lot, and I hope it feels natural. Like it's gonna have to, like, because everything's going down, everyone's falling, and then everyone's building these great places. So it's like, but you have to make that feel natural. And through a time jump, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah. But I just hope that they show, because I think that architectural stuff is really interesting. I know some people have mixed feelings with episode 3. I really liked it. I think Muriel's the shit. We get more Disa, Durin, and we get them meeting with Celebrimbor, which I also thought was cool, because, like, when they asked for more time to think about it, and, Sauron was like, and then Celebrimbor was like, yes, that's fine.
Yeah, I thought that was really fun.
I liked how Durin was like, I don't trust this Anatar dude, and Disa's like, why? And it's like, well, because he said my best friend said nice things about me.
I know, that was cute.
In what world?
It was, It was so nice to see him try his little, like, his little game manipulation, and, like, and it's fun to see him, like, guess correctly a lot in just those 3 episodes, and then just guess a little wrong with Durin. And so
like, talk about misunderstanding their friendship. He just knows that they're buddies, but he doesn't know on what. I don't even know if it would, like, cross his mind that they would be kind of like, like, I think with the elves, everything has so much more formal vibes, and it's really not that.
Yeah, it's not that deep with them.
Yeah, like, they're like brothers in the way that we would think. You know what I mean? Like, they mess with each other and stuff.
I don't think Sauron's ever had a bestie.
He needs one.
Again, therapy. We could all
Galadriel could have been his bestie. She decided
threw it all away.
Yeah.
Well,
she just ruined it.
Yeah. But, and also, I was so excited that we followed Beric from the beginning of that opener. I love this horse. And if anything happens to him, also, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. You better not.
There's a class action going.
Yeah.
We were all hurt.
Did we ever
the emotional damage is too great.
If Isildur finds him at the end of episode 3? Because I think they just left him.
Yeah. I think he snuck away on him, didn't he?
I think he was able to get him free.
And then the ambush happened.
Yeah, and then Beric.
So we don't know what happened with that.
Yeah, because then Isildur was like, I gotta go find my horse. And Arondir was like, you do you, I'm gonna go do me. And then it's Bronwyn's funeral.
Yeah, so we have her funeral, and then we have some hanging out where Isildur is telling, what's the new girl's name? Estrid, yeah. Like, her, like, Theo overhears Isildur talking to her about his mom and how he feels like it's his fault that she died. And then, before being like, hey, Isildur, let's go get your horse. And then their stuff ends, like, and then Estrid tries to burn off her Adar brand. Which I didn't really see coming.
I didn't see
I was like, also, I get it. I don't know if I'd do it.
How'd she escape then? Like, that's why I'm like,
I
think is she planted?
She's too cute. Yeah. She's too cute. before we go to Muriel's coronation, I think Isildur gets away with Beric, and that's when Theo runs into the Ents. And then, we haven't even talked about his sister, who isn't, like, somebody that we have a lot of... we don't have any text about her.
I was expecting for her to go, dark in the wrong side of things, but I wasn't expecting to straight up hate her, episode 3, or the first scene that she had.
Yeah, I definitely thought she was going to be like one of the architects of like one of Morgoth's temples, not a snitch.
Right.
Yep.
Like, what is she doing?
I mean, the whole she like took it, and I wrote, "Girl is so misinformed."
Yeah,
that's what I wrote.
She's red pilled.
yeah.
And then I also didn't understand why Elendil couldn't pick it up.
I didn't understand that, and I thought that
because Aragorn can.
Yeah, it was a little jarring for me to see like that specific like blast as well, because like even Pippin can, but
I think it's one of those things where it's just like he doesn't know the effects of it, so it's just like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's just it's interesting. It's a choice. So we'll see if he gets a handle on it. And then we have the Eagle and Pharazôn. And Pharazôn, I hate him, but also like he steals the show a little bit.
He's a little smart.
We also them arguing over that dress color. When it's also she's blind, and it's just I feel like that adds like another layer.
She can say white, just give her the red.
I know, but it is also interesting. Yeah, it is interesting, like that we choose red as the future color.
Yeah,
it's like, I mean, I love a red, but it's when you think about like a lot of their stuff is like blue and bronze. Her dad wore white. It's such a stark difference from like the general vibe. Like I get that he's wearing it because
But I definitely think it's one of those things where it's like they're trying to imply something with the color, kind of like how in Lord of the Rings Legolas said, "There's a red dawn, blood has been spilt on this night." Some stuff like that. I think that's what maybe that's what they're.
It is a bloody red, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, don't make red sinister. I like this color.
Yeah. Or he's just trying to make her twin with him, and just to be like, see.
Yeah, like give that visual that they're aligned.
Yeah.
I also thought it was funny how Pharazôn, when what's her face? I can never remember.
Arian.
Yeah, when she calls out Muriel for the Palantir, and Pharazôn, I mean, he has to know that it's hers, but then he's like, lies. She would never. No, and then she's like, don't hurt it. It's mine. It was like, yeah.
I think that it was done so well, though, with Pharazôn, because I like that they've kind of made it the people around him and like the political climate around him,
right? And
not just him, because I think it would be hard to see him like try to pull all the strings in such a condensed timeline. But to see that, I mean, it's also quite scary because I feel like it's relevant.
I feel like I mean,
to see the mentality of everybody around him to be like, oh, I like this guy, so I'm going to put him in power, and it's going to kind of come naturally to him.
Yeah. But I also love that we are getting him being more like, I mean, he does it in that more like politician way of like kind of going
kind of
with the...
It, but then being like, no, it's not my place. But if you guys want to do
it
for me.
Right, and like kind of the way he will... use his, like, obviously that was a manipulative thing that he did about being like, oh my god, no, that would not be hers. Kind of, I like think that he knew better, but also not jumping the shark. But at the same time, we're seeing Sauron really like turn on the charm and manipulate people in a not dissimilar way. Like, he's playing politics at the same time to get what he wants, and so I know that we've technically had scenes with them together. I'm super interested to see like Anatar, prisoner / counselor Pharazôn, and like how that dynamic is gonna be of like distrust, but then also like thirsty for it, you know. I'm interested because these actors be acting, and the bad guys be badding.
Yeah, like with Charlie
they're
Vickers,
fun to watch.
It almost makes you wonder, like, is he a natural narcissist? Because he is just too good at this.
Too good at it.
That's almost natural.
That's a question. I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm sure that you're a perfect, lovely man,
absolutely.
but we're worried about you.
Someone get his wife on the phone.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
We have questions. Are you okay? Is he okay? What is up? Not that it's any of our business, but yeah. I don't know. I think this was really fun. This is a really fun 3 episodes. Like, there's things that I'm like, okay, maybe I wouldn't have done it this way, but I'll let you cook. I don't know. I think it's gonna be a good season, and I mean that in terms of like watching these characters change and grow. I feel like they're on paths, and there's definitely like I do think I'm starting to see like the vision a little bit, while still being intrigued by, like, not quite sure where they're going, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm also just excited that so many other people are excited for this season. Like, the dialogue and narrative, or like the conversations that people are having around this season is so much more positive, and it makes me feel less anxious talking about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I almost feel like that's just because of the algorithm that we've made. Because on Threads, it's like all these people
put in the work,
so positive about it, and being like, "Well, this made me start reading Lord of the Rings," and then you get on Facebook, and it's just a cesspool.
Oh no, I can't with Facebook.
I can't do.
If I could delete one social platform,
I had to unfollow all the Lord of the Rings pages because
I had to get out of groups. People are nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely still like the racism and misogyny running strong in some Tolkien circles, but Threads has been chill. I feel like TikTok has been pretty chill. I have curated my Twitter to be very like silly and positive about Rings of Power. And not that I'm saying that we shouldn't be critical of the show. I think we certainly have.
Oh yeah.
But for the right reasons, right? Like, not like, I feel like I did see like one person hop on in Threads, and like something I was talking to a friend about, and they were saying things that were like misogynistic and like wouldn't say the racist part out loud, but you could tell that like they would just say things were bad or good, and I'm like, could you say more about that?
Yeah,
and
like, these elves aren't Tolkien elves. Like, well, what makes them not Tolkien?
What does that mean?
What does that mean to you? Like, because they don't have the erythral blurry lens. Right. Tell me, like, say it out loud. It's okay.
Yeah, but they won't. Like, he literally was like, I'm not gonna argue with you anymore, and I was like, because you're so close.
Yeah.
To saying what I think you're actually saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing you're not supposed to say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then there are people that are just like straight up out with it, and they're just like, well,
they're straight up,
Galadriel shouldn't be this big, strong character because, she's a woman, X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like,
very strange. It's like, but for the most part, I feel like the people online have gotten me re-excited about this show. And I'm also excited by how many people have like allowed this to open up Middle Earth for them in a bigger way. Mm-hmm. Like, going to the books, trying to like, just, I will say that I do get nervous when people will ask like questions about the ambiguous stuff in Tolkien, looking for straight up answers, and some creators will respond and try to give a definitive answer, and I'm like, oh no, let them play. Or like, that's one thing about Tolkien, that
be like, well, this is how I see it.
Right, like, there are a lot of options for that answer, and so I think that, but like, encouraging, that is one thing that I think that Rings of Power can help us do as a fandom, is like encouraging more play and imagination within Middle Earth, that like sometimes like, yes, sometimes we do get a timeline, and sometimes we have, yes, like, we did land somewhere with a certain storyline or character, but at the same time, there is so much room to explore and kind of, like, play with various ideas about things, and I think that's another reason I'm excited for whatever they do with Tom Bombadil, because it's not a Tom Bombadil we necessarily know.
Yeah.
And it's a character that we're never gonna get. Like, that is,
Yeah, he's probably like a one and done thing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like we're getting little tastes, and I just think it allows for more for us to kind of talk about, like, the what ifs and, like, play around with ideas, and I think that we should encourage more of that, like that curiosity about Middle Earth, because there's just, you start one place, you can end up somewhere else, like, like, once you dive into Lord of the Rings, and if you are interested in going deep, like, you don't have to be, but if you do end up in the Silmarillion, like, it just keeps expanding,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the reason why there is so much work, and the reason why there is a Silmarillion, is because that's exactly what Tolkien did himself.
Mm-hmm.
He kept playing with it, playing with ideas, moving pieces around, and I mean, he played with it his whole life. So I like the idea that you can be creative with this. You can see someone else be creative with all of the different avenues that Tolkien himself played with.
Yeah. Damn, girls, I think we did it.
Ah, shit.
I think we did it.
Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't talk about? I'm trying to think if there's like one. We're gonna end the episode and we'll be like, oh my god, we didn't talk about this.
Did we talk about Merrick?
Like,
I don't think we talked about Merrick.
We definitely talked.
I mean, I didn't talk about Rune too much. I mean, I feel like we're just getting little tastes of that. I love how much we're getting Anatar.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be like, I think that's gonna be the whole season. I think it's gonna be, and like the actors have said that that's the only person that they've basically talked with they had scenes with is just each other.
Yeah,
so I think it's gonna be great. That's gonna be.
I'm just interested to see how we get, because I know, again, trailers, like, Arondir somehow gets to Eregion, and he's gonna fight Damrod or whatever, or Trolley Boy. So I'm just wondering, like, how we get everyone's gonna end up in Eregion in some way. So I'm interested to see how we get there.
Yeah.
And I do think that this is one thing where, like, I feel like I've seen a lot of this online of, like, yay, it's not like Game of Thrones, and then I want to be like, babes. Who did it first, though? Who did it first?
Yeah.
Like, Tolkien doesn't not get dark or fucked up. So I'm interested to see, like, and I know that they had a higher, like, age rating for this season, right? Like, so
yeah,
something's happening, something gonna happen, and I want them to go for it, because I think that the thing about Middle Earth is that it is so, I mean, this is a long ass history, and just because, like, the way narratively it kind of plays out in Lord of the Rings doesn't necessarily feel like blood and guts and stuff, like, shit does happen.
Well, like, in the Lord of the Rings, it's the aftermath of a lot of things, and so it's told through, like, it's like reading a history book.
Yeah.
And then now with this season of Rings of Power, we are seeing those events happen,
and they're not pretty.
It's gonna get brutal.
Like, we don't.
Yeah.
This is, like, we hint at, like, Gil-galad and Elendil dying and, like, those in Lord of the Rings, but then, like, to see that, like,
yeah,
I'm just like, Sauron in his hot ass hands. That can't be fun. That can't be fun. I think Celebrimbor is going to be probably our first chance to see how far they'll go.
Oh, absolutely. Because, like, in one of the trailers, you see him without a hand. So it's like, I think that'll be my first heartbreak.
Yeah.
For that
That's
show.
definitely going to happen this season.
Yeah, that's one of the things where, like, I know that they had, like, casting changes and stuff, but I am sad that we didn't get more Celebrimbor in season 1, because it's gonna be just like Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is my thing. Is like I do want it to feel earned with him, and since I have like the two characters that I have issue connecting with are Celebrimbor and Gil-galad. And I want both of their stories to feel earned.
I agree.
And Celebrimbor's is coming up quick, and we are going to spend a lot of time with him and Anatar. So I feel like it hopefully will be earned.
Yeah.
But it's talking to one of the producers at Comic-Con about it was interesting. It was like it's gonna happen. Things are gonna happen.
Hold on to your butts. Well, I think we're in for a ride, ladies.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. And we'll have so much more to talk about over the next several weeks.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. I hope it'll be great.
It'll be great because we're thinking positive. We're putting positive vibes out there.
You can only stuff so much positive vibes.
I know. I'm rooting for you, Rings of Power. So we're on this ride with you. So I think more to come, more thoughts and speculation as they keep rolling out these episodes at whatever weird ass time they choose.
We'll see.
I'm hoping someday that we might get like a Friday evening drop or something when it's not so like I don't know. Asking me to watch it on a Thursday is I don't know if I could do it every time, but we'll do our best to stay on top of things. We'll see. So again, thank you, Kelly, Kaia, for hanging in there with me on this very stuffy nose day.
I mean, thank you for. I was coughing and then just descending into darkness until I was like a floating face. So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, we'll forget how awful we feel for Rings of Power. Next week will be better. We'll be better. We'll be all better. So I can't guarantee like if we'll be able to coordinate at the same time every week, but we are gonna do our best to talk about these because also I mentioned this in our last little short episode that we did, but I mean this is gonna get me pretty close to my due date, and so IDK
Rings of Power, baby.
Yeah, so like IDK if I will do much during maternity leave, flipping my life upside down, but
you're just like be in labor and just like, hey guys, I got a podcast.
Hey guys,
is that cool?
I got to talk about Lord of the Rings real quick.
I can talk about Lord of the Rings.
Hang on, let me mute contraction.
Yeah, I'll just do like the airplane facts with Max thing, but tie it to being a mom.
Like, I guess this baby's pretty cool, but you know what? It's cooler. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, not unlike the screams that Frodo and Pippin and Sam heard when they were in the woody end. Baby in background. No, I don't know. I've never had a baby before, so we'll see what happens.
This is me being sleepless and going on 0 sleep for days, which is not quite different from a barrow white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in my barrow white era, guys. I'm gonna choke on my snot. Again, thank you, ladies. This was amazing, and I'm sure we will do it again very soon.